flags with them big names and them big buildings, that's big business. Hit town, but that's big pimpin'. My potential, that's infinite. Pin game insane, make hits like King Griffin, a 10th inning.
All right, welcome to episode 3 of the 10th Inning Podcast. I'm Sean Meyer. He's Dan Vario. And that's Clayton Kershaw once again. And how are you doing, Dan? How are you?
Sean, we're doing well. Back-to-back walk-offs, not what I expected. Dave Roberts, one of the worst to ever do it. Yeah, I like him better than Don Mattingly, but this playoffs he's been a little bit. We'll get into that
question.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. I'm sure. He's better than Don Mattingly with pitching.
Yeah.
You know what? He's better with Don Mattingly with starters. With relievers, he's got no clue. With his bench, he's got no clue. Just simply with starting pitching, I think he's better. Mm-hmm. That's actually it. Defense, awful. Relievers, awful. Bench players, awful.
Well, since we last spoke, the Dodgers won their previous series before getting down 0-2 to the Braves. They beat the San Francisco Giants. That was a hell of a game.
Yes, it was.
I mean, what a game. Darren Ruff, a legend in our minds, but not
Darren
many
Ruff.
others.
Come on.
Home run.
I wasn't shocked. I had him. I did like a daily fantasy thing. I had Darren Ruff as my second MVP. I'm like, Darren Ruff's going off tonight. Game 5. I'm in Darren fucking Ruff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Absolute stud. Man, that game was back and forth. I'm gonna defer to you. Typically as it comes with the Dodgers and your opinions about it because this is your team. So where's yours?
Hell of a game, obviously. I don't want to say I called it. It's a very easy call. This is going to be the best game of the postseason so far. It's the only game 5. Back and forth. Pitching was really great, obviously. Low scoring, tight game. And we got lucky because Max Scherzer, looked rough. We're talking, he did not. First off, he should have never been in the game. Dave loves the idea of bringing in your ace starter and putting him in the last inning for no reason. Off short rest.
That one.
Yeah. Kershaw did well sometimes in those situations, but also did poorly many times in those situations. Yeah. It's not a normal situation for a starting pitcher. Regardless, he looked terrible. I think Scherzer ended up facing 4 batters, maybe 5. I was shocked he didn't pull him out directly after 3. He was to Wilmer. He hung a first pitch slider about 86 miles an hour, hard of the plate. He was hanging everything. He looked terrible. He looked awful. Lamont Wade Jr. almost went yak off him twice. Honestly, It was a hold your breath kind of moment. I don't like the call from Dave. That's all I'm going to say. Happy we won, but I don't like the manager.
To go with another questionable call, what do you think Corey Knebel started in that game?
Ridiculous. Absolutely batshit crazy. The day before, everyone's like, who was supposed to start the game? Was it Julio? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Julio.
Which I love. He's the guy I won in game 5, as I've said before. And Julio's pitching. We're talking like 11 a.m. day of game. He brings in Corey to the office. Corey, here's what I'm thinking. Because this is how Dave does. This isn't an internal plan. This is Dave had a dream that Corey pitched the first inning. Corey, how do you feel? How do you feel about starting tonight, Corey? And Corey's probably like, I don't know, Dave. Like, that's kind of an odd situation. Not only that, let's throw Brusdar Graterol in the second. This goes back to my argument. Dave has no idea MLB games can go past 9 innings. And the Dodgers have been so lucky to get to 9 innings and just make it out every single time. Because we'll get into it in the Braves series. Would have been screwed again last night. Our two of our top relievers are gone within 2 innings. Like,
I don't understand.
If it went extras, we would have we had no one left in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And we're bringing in Max. It was just so stupid.
I just don't understand the pros of having Knebel start as opposed to Urias, because Urias started. He's come in relief before and done well, but he's a starting pitcher, and he, as you said, knew the whole day leading up to it that he was starting, and then just like that, we're having Corey Knebel start, and you're going to come in relief, and not even come in the second inning. You're going to come in what? It was the 3rd or 4th inning he came in at.
Third, because I think we went Knebel and then Brusdar, who who both barely got out of their innings, by the way. They both didn't look
Yeah.
great. It was
No.
by the grace of God that they got out of their innings. And,
It-
and I'm sorry. I'm going to jump ahead. But Daddy Dave, he's like, you know what, Corey? I kind of like this. Scratch Scherzer. You're going to start the next game, too. I might just have you start every game for the rest of the season. And Corey's like, Dave, I'm not good at this. This is terrible. Yeah, I don't understand it. He throws Corey out there the next game to start.
It makes zero sense. It
Corey
makes zero
has started more games in the playoffs this year than Max Scherzer. Okay, and that to me, I find that to be a little bit issue.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. But that wasn't the most controversial moment or decision in that game. It was Wilmer Flores' check swing that he barely took the bat off his shoulder, and the first base umpire said he went around for strike 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a tough way to end an amazing series, an amazing game.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that should be a reviewable play. I don't know if I agree with that, because then we're going to be, spending 10 minutes trying to determine if it was a swing or not. But that was a tough way for the game to end, just by pure baseball fan. You want to see it end correctly, I guess you could say.
Sure.
But boy, what a game! What a game!
What I'll say about as an umpire, I have a little bit of insight here.
That's true. You are an umpire. Yeah.
It's not. I don't think if I was on the call, I would have not said that was not a swing.
Yeah.
However, like you alluded to, I don't think we should make that a reviewable play, because there is no written rule of once he does this, it's a check swing.
Yeah.
There's no plane crossing. It's discretion, which is the same thing. Yeah. With a lot of calls that aren't reviewable. So it's like, what are they going to review? The 4 people in New York might have a different opinion on what a check swing looks like. Yeah. So unfortunately, or fortunately, that's the exciting part I like sometimes about baseball, is something's just an opinion, and that's just it, man. It's not like that in a lot of other sports, which is cool.
I know Peter Gammons, he's a baseball writer, has the opinion that if the bat comes off the shoulder, no matter if you barely took it off, it's still a swing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You got a lot of schools of thought there, so it's a very up in the air type thing. It's very discretionary, as you said.
Also, just want to shout out something real quick. Remember who I said was the unsung hero, Cody Bellinger. Yeah. Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger.
He really is. He's making everybody forget about that horrid regular season.
Came up big in Game 5, and he's still swinging the bat the first 2 games. So I'm saying Cody. We're Cody. Unsung hero.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just before we end this, I want to piggyback off what you said about Max Scherzer. I can't remember the first hitter for the Giants. Either way, he went opposite field to left field, and he was lucky that ball was caught.
Tommy La Stella.
That was a rocket. What was that?
Tommy La Stella. I'm just looking at the box now.
Yeah. And then, obviously, after that, Turner made the error. But I got to agree with you. He just didn't look like he had it.
In the 9th. I'm sorry. I didn't know you meant the 9th. Yeah.
He just didn't look like he had it.
Yeah. Turner making that error. You couldn't imagine what I was doing in my apartment.
Oh, boy.
Because he's the most – I trust him to make that play 10 out of 10. Sure-handed third baseman, in my opinion, doesn't get talked about his defense enough. He's a fantastic defensive third baseman.
Yeah.
And you could tell when he made – he was like, oh, my God, what did I just do? But it could have been the neck. Even the neck could have been bothering him then. I didn't know anything about the neck at that point. But
yeah. He just didn't look comfortable at it. I think he was in between backhanding it and just a regular forehand play.
Yeah.
Lucky for him and Dodgers and you, that didn't, matter in the end.
It should have. Max looked
But anyway, do you want to talk about the Dodgers series of the Braves next, or do you want to jump over to the Red Sox and Astros?
Let's go Red Sox Astros. Jump over there for a sec.
What an offensive series this has been so far.
I feel like that's what we said it was going to be too.
Yeah. I saw this stat last night. I think the Astros starting pitching has a 20.25 ERA through the first 3 games in the series, which is just pitiful. It's been entertaining.
Has been entertaining, yes.
That first game, Kike made that diving play in center field with the bases loaded, and then he hit the home run the next inning. That was just poetic justice. And they took the lead, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe the Red Sox are, going to win this game. They have everything going their way, but props to the Astros, as much as that kills me to say that. Yeah. They came back, and Carlos Correa with his, little time thing there.
God, I hate him
very clutch
so
home run.
much. I hate him so much. I hate him.
He's, you know, who was pitching and gave that home run? None other than ex-Met Hansel Robles, who is, as far as Mets fans go, notorious for pointing to the sky on fly balls that fly about, 450 feet out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was kind of ironic in that moment because he's notorious for that among Mets fans. Just had to get that in there.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, do you have any thoughts on game one?
Kike's the greatest defender you've ever seen at any position you want to play. Primary second baseman. He was out in the center field. 2 home runs, 4 for 5. Kike Hernandez. Oh, I'm saying he's on the Dodgers. This series over with the Braves. Keek. Yeah. We'll get into Jock. I'll keep saying it all year, Keek and Jock, because I look like a genius. But whatever. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Devers has looked great too. Love the kid. Little granny, right?
Oh, yeah, and he's dealing with an arm issue too.
Yeah.
High pitches in this every time he swings, he winces.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a couple of his swings where he's like coming up out of it and not feeling good. And no, but he's a real strong kid. So the Grand Slam was awesome to see. Yeah, Correa's doing well, but like you said, it's an offensive series. But at the end of the day, Keek's hitting third now. Keek's he's just doing it all. 12 runs yesterday too for the Sox.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just
I believe
pouring.
Yeah, I think if Kike hits 1 home run, he either ties the Red Sox all-time postseason home run record or breaks it. I think he breaks it. I think he's currently tied with David Ortiz, Big Papi. I also saw those 3 grand slams the Red Sox have hit are tied most in a playoff like ever with the 1998 Atlanta Braves, and this is the first time it's ever happened in the same series.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive. I mean, not the Dodgers. The Red Sox lineup is really deep. And who would have thought that going into this year? But there's no easy out in the lineup.
And I mean, you kind of have to shout out like the starting pitching, which I kept saying is not going to work. I mean, Sale wasn't able to go that long in game 1, but Eovaldi 5+ in 3, Eduardo Rodriguez 6+ in 3. That you're taking that all day in these games. 6 and 3.
Eduardo Rodriguez's performance last night, going 6 innings, that was gutsy. And then in the 4th inning, he gave up a 3-run run to Tucker. Yeah. You're like, he might not make it, But going 6 innings and saving the bullpen is huge.
Especially because their bullpen is but 6 and 3 is in a playoff series right now, especially in an offensive environment when they're facing a good offense. That's all-star type stuff.
At Fenway, no less,
Yeah. But it's been an interesting series. What does your heart say now? Are we sticking with the Red Sox?
I'm sticking with them, but I think the Astros are not about to roll over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have too much talent, too much experience. And I think Zach Greinke's going tonight. I know you're not a huge fan of Zach Greinke, but he is, one of the better pitchers in the past, 10, 15 years. Yeah. So I think they get tonight's win. I really do. I think they're going to respond after just getting absolutely shellacked the past 2 games. But boy, I think the Red Sox pull the series out. But I think it's going to be 6 or 7 games for the Red Sox.
Yeah. For some reason, now that the Astros lost 12-3, I got a feeling the Astros are going to win the series. And it's just so unfortunate. I hate them so much. But they, like I said, the only reason the brain picks them is because they just have so much experience. And they have guys that know what they're doing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If Kike has a bad game, the Red Sox are done. Okay.
But, yeah. I know that the defense for the Astros has not been good. Altuve had a rough game last night.
Yeah.
He seems to be struggling with stolen base throws down to second. This is like twice in the series where he's gone for kind of a Olay scoop and missed it both times. The runners got to third, which is rare because he's a very short-handed fielder. So if they clean that up, obviously the Grand Slam wouldn't have happened if I forget who made the error. But that would not have happened had the play been made. So it really, little mistakes like that can make a series. So if they clean that up, I think this series is going to be very interesting.
Yeah. Can't disagree with that. I'm switching now that the Red Sox are up 2-1. I'm picking the Astros. I had Red Sox before this. Yeah. I'm picking the Astros. Something about losing 12-3 just doesn't sit right with me when they have Correa and Altuve there.
Yeah, and Brantley, they got a lot of experience. Brantley hasn't been hitting yet. He's going to get hot at some point. You just know he is. Yeah. No, they have too much just to roll over. Yeah. I mean, they got a good team. So let's hop back into the Dodgers here. Dodgers Braves. Um, matchup of 106 win team and an 88 win team.
Yeah.
89. I can never remember the exact number. But so far, it's been a highly contested series. Pretty much the opposite of the Red Sox Astros. Low scoring games,
Yep.
very back and forth. I know the results haven't been what you've wanted, but what are your opinions been so far in the first two games of this best of 7 series?
When you're in a CS, you gotta throw whatever you can, and that's what we've been doing. We threw Corey Knebel to start our game. I mean, we threw Corey Knebel to start game 1. I'm sorry. It's been interesting. We have again blown through our pinch hitters in stupid situations. They were all gone by the 9th inning last night. If that went extras, we would have had pitchers hit, relievers no less. I'm just harping on Dave at this point. I'm just aggravated, but the games have been played really well between the teams. Obviously, like you said, really close. The Braves have just, and you can feel it. The Braves just have guys right now, and there's not a lot of people that walk up to the plate for the Dodgers where I feel confident. Like it's really just like people I've said, like Chris Taylor, and maybe a little bit of Cody. Even Corey. Corey looks off right now. We need Muncy back so bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But Ozzie walks up and you're like, oh, this is not a good situation. This is like Ozzie's going to get a hit there. You know what I mean? Austin Riley had a beautiful double off the wall. I thought maybe we'd get out of it there, but and then bringing in Julio. I mean, what are we doing? He's starting like literally the next game. Why do we keep? I don't understand what the point is. Tomorrow's starter, let's have him throw the 8th. He only pitched 2 days ago and he was pitching on short rest. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Julio's a fantastic pitcher, and I trust him in that situation 10 out of 10. But even that time, I was like, this isn't going to work. We have Kenley. Just let Kenley go. We're taking out Trine too early. It's going to be tough. The Dodgers are going to need to win 2 in a row back home right now, and then hopefully win 3. But we'll see.
Yeah. From the Braves' perspective, every time the Dodgers have punched them in the face, they've gotten right back up and returned.
100%.
I mean, Chris Taylor with the 2-run single, and then was it the next inning they come back and tie it up? Austin Riley and Jock Peterson have been huge for the Braves. Also, Freddie Freeman struck out 7 at-bats in a row, and they're still won the first 2 games. That's so uncharacteristic of him. He doesn't strike out much, puts the ball in play.
Yep.
But that shows you how deep their lineup is and how many gamers they have, that their best player hasn't gotten hit in the series, but they've managed to win both games.
Yeah.
Once again, the Braves bullpen has been just stellar.
Yeah.
Which was a question mark. Their pitching in general was a question mark coming into the postseason. It's going to be interesting to see what it's like, when they go back to LA, because the Dodgers, much like the Astros, they're not about to roll over for anybody. They got too much talent, too much experience.
Yeah.
The expectations are there. They're gonna pull together. They were down 3-1 to the Braves last year, and they came back and won the series and the World Series. So this is far from over. And once the Braves hitters start waking up a little bit, I think Dodgers hitters wake up a little bit, not the Braves. I think we're gonna see the Dodgers get some victories. And once their pitching kind of comes back into play, and starters start and relievers relieve, I think the Dodgers are gonna make this a good series. I still have them winning this series. I think it's going to be in 7. Initially, I was thinking maybe 6 or 5. But obviously, I underestimated the Braves. But, hey, another good series here. Competitive, but in a very different way. Pitching and defense as opposed to offense. It's interesting. We have 2 very good series going on here.
It's Atlanta at 7.
Yeah, see, I'll believe it when I see it. The Braves I keep saying the Braves. The Dodgers are just so good.
Yeah.
On paper. But boy, it's going to be a dogfight.
There's going to be some dogs fighting. I can guarantee.
Yeah, I think Charlie Morton goes in game 3. I believe he's going, and who's going
for
the Dodgers?
Bueller's going tonight.
Okay, so that
should be a win. I think it should be a win for us. I really do. We need this win tonight in LA. Likely
another low-scoring game too.
Yep. No, it's been a pitching dominated game, and it will be. Although let me tell you, Brewers slated to start right now. It's only 3:25. Corey could definitely be thrown in there by 5.
Oh boy. Yeah. Sometimes this, as you said before, we'll get into our opinions on baseball, but this new way of thinking sometimes, I think they're just trying too hard, If
Yeah.
something's not broke, don't fix it, You got Max
Definitely.
Scherzer, you got Walker Buehler, you got Julio Urias. I mean, you got 3 horses right there, and yet you're starting Corey Knebel, who's a great closer, had a great career set up in closing. No knock on him. He's not a starting pitcher. It just makes zero sense to me whatsoever.
And in late game situations, we have Julio and Max coming in. That's the problem. It's like, just flip it, Dave. You had it right the first time.
Yeah. We'll see if that continues.
Yeah. I think there's a shot that we get 3 walk-offs in a row here. I think every game's a walk-off.
Now that would be something.
Every game is a walk-off.
Wow. That'd have to be a record. I can't imagine that's ever happened before in the past in a 7-game series.
No, with every game being a walk-off, no. I think tonight's a walk-off. I really do. I got that feeling. Dodgers walk-off.
Must win for the Dodgers. But
yeah.
They've been in situations like this before. They know how to respond. So it should be interesting to see. There's been some other baseball news aside from just the postseason. Mike Shildt, the Cardinals manager, was let go by the Cardinals, which was, I thought, kind of surprising. Yeah. After, they won, how many games? 17 games in a row this year?
17, I think, yeah.
Now, if they didn't make the playoffs, I'd understand, because St. Louis is much like New York market where they expect their team to win. But I was shocked at that, and I read into the reasons for it. They said their ideologies just weren't matching up. So that's kind of an interesting thing to say. You wonder if maybe the team is looking to, go one direction and Mike Shildt isn't. But I don't know. It's kind of just something that caught me by surprise. I don't know if you've really, seen much about it.
I haven't seen too much about it, but just my peripheral reaction is, maybe they underperformed the first half of the season, but going into the playoffs, they were as hot. It seems like sometimes it takes a manager a little bit anyway. You know what I mean? And throughout the back half of the season, they were killing it, especially the last couple of months. And they looked great in the wild card game. They were a couple plays away from winning that game and still being in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that. I know that, like you said, they said they go in 2 different directions, but I think the Cardinals have been a really great combination blend of old school and new school thinking.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine what direction they're going and where they'd be going away from him.
I can't imagine them rebuilding. They traded for Goldschmidt a couple of years ago and Arenado last year, so it wouldn't make sense to do that. No. If that's the case, what manager wouldn't want to, manage a team that's trying to win? I don't know.
And I'm trying to think of what managers are out there right now that they'd be interested in bringing in. Like, who are they eyeing? They clearly have an idea of like an ideal person they'd rather have, and I can't think of who's out there.
Me either. It's going to be interesting. And other manager news, Aaron Boone today just signed a 3-year extension, I believe, and the 3rd year is a team option. That was, I guess, not a surprise, but I don't know too many Yankee fans who were happy with it.
Maybe people outside of the Yankee fan base aren't surprised, but the Yankees fans are surprised. I can tell you that. This was a surprise. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely asinine. Absolutely not. Aaron Boone has not been a good manager. Most New York fans agree with that and do not like him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree wholeheartedly with that.
He's made terrible decisions. He pinch hits Rugi for whenever we have our best hitter up. He's like, you know what, Rugi, get up in there, pal. You got it. And I love Rugi. Nothing wrong with Rugi.
Oh yeah,
but he's not an offensive replacement. And I don't know. He's made terrible decisions. I don't think he has a good control of the clubhouse. And our team's underperformed. So I don't like the sign at all. Cashman's got to go then. Someone has to go. Something has to happen.
Apparently Cashman was the one who wanted to bring him back. But the thing is, Cashman has 1 year left on his contract. And I believe he was quoted today saying something along the lines of, we're going to be very aggressive in the free agent market. So I think they are going to have a much different team next year. They have to perform, otherwise he's going to be out of a job. They're the Yankees. They expect to win, and they haven't won in over 10 years. And, I don't want to sound like everybody else, but if George Steinbrenner was still alive, there's no way both of them would still have a job with the Yankees. No way. Boone would have been fired probably even before this year.
Yeah. We're going to be aggressive in free agency. Well, what do you call the last couple? You make stupid decisions. I don't care how aggressive you are. You paid fucking $500 million to Garrett, not 500, but you paid Garrett Cole $300 million.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like the decision. You went and got Rizzo. You went and got Joey Gallo. I don't like your big decisions.
Yeah.
Like, who's he going to get on the free agent market this year? He's going to get Correa or Seager. That's his big move. Ooh, let's get a 16th shortstop this season. We could have just had Didi the whole time. Okay.
Yeah.
Finally move Gleyber to second. We'll probably isn't Freddie a free agent unless he opts in?
He is. Yeah, he is.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have Freddie and Corey Seager at short and first. They'll both be injured by May, and we'll lose. Okay, that's my team.
That'd be a good team, though.
That would be a fantastic couple signings.
I mean, but as you said, Correa, they asked me the other day, what do you think about playing in New York? And he said, I'd love to. And they asked him which team. He said, I didn't say blue or orange or navy blue pinstripes. He's keeping the options open. But as a Mets fan to a Yankee fan, you guys can have him.
Realistically, the problem is it's going to be Correa and Verlander. And I couldn't tell you two players I hate more than Correa and Verlander because Verlander's been linked to New York. Let's bring a 43-year-old pitcher off Tommy and Carlos Correa, who's got a history of cheating. Amazing in the playoffs. Carlos Correa is a good player. I just don't like him. I don't want him on the team. I don't think he's good for the franchise. But those are going to be our two big signings. Mark it right here. Verlander and Correa. And you know where we're going to be next season? Bounce it in the first round of the playoffs. That's my take.
Well, yeah, I mean, not to get too far into any off-season talk, but while we're on the topic, I mean, AL East isn't going to be a cakewalk.
No.
The Rays are still going to be good. The Blue Jays are going to be better.
Blue Jays are winning.
I mean, they might lose next year, but they have a great young team.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox, they're always competitive.
So
I mean, and then you got the Orioles, but eventually at some point they're going to start getting better because they've been bad for how many years now? These guys are going to start coming up.
Yeah, you're going to hear my Chris Davis comeback seasons. No, that's not my take, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe Chris Davis used to be on Oakland, KHR,
Yeah.
IS Davis. But it's not the American League is going to be difficult, you know? So I don't know. And, throwing money at players doesn't always work.
No, it doesn't.
Look what Francisco Lindor did for the Mets. He hit like 230. I mean, you're paying people in New York and then complain about getting booed.
Yeah.
So did Leonard Williams with the Giants in the NFL, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But if you don't perform, you're going to get booed, especially in New York. But I don't know. We'll talk about a lot about that kind of stuff in the offseason, predictions and all that.
Yeah.
And,
we'll have free agent predictions, and a bunch of other, like you said, and then season predictions. And our opinions on a lot of maybe even rule changes that might end up occurring. So
yeah,
it'll be a fun off season for sure. But
yeah, absolutely.
What are you most excited for the rest of this playoffs?
I'm excited to see if the Braves can keep, I don't want to say overperforming, but defying expectations.
Yeah.
I'll admit I like the Braves team. I like their players. I like Ozzie Albies. I love Freddie Freeman. Charlie Morton is a stud. I mean, I'm curious to see how they do against a powerhouse like the Dodgers. So far, so good, but it's only 2 games out of potentially 7.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm most excited about. And then I guess if I want to go to the American League, I want to see if the Red Sox can keep also defying the odds. I mean, they're going up against someone could say powerhouse in the Astros. So I'm curious to see how they keep performing. And Kike, I want to see how Kike keeps doing because he's a fantastic clutch performer. I want to see if he can keep it up, So that's what I'm thinking. What about you?
I hope to God Kike and Jocktober don't take the 2 teams that I don't want to make it, but it seems like they might. I'm most looking forward to, I mean, again, this is biased, but seeing how the Dodgers respond to getting walked off twice. I saw Corey walking off the field specifically. I remember looking at his face, and he was like, "This is not bueno." I think there's a little bit of there's some healthy fire, but I think there's a little bit of nervousness right now in that clubhouse. and I
Yeah.
want to see how they play tonight at home. Given that, and I'm interested to seeing how tight Walker's pants are tonight. That's gonna be something to look for.
He loves those tight pants.
He does. Oh, I'm going to put right down right here, right below us here is going to be our YouTube and our Instagram links. Not links, but where you can find us.
Yeah.
Like Shawnee said, watch these games, guys. Even if you're not huge baseball fans, this will turn you into a baseball fan because playoff baseball is absolutely different.
Yeah.
You might might not even find a team you like, but a player you like, someone to get behind like Choctober or Kike, the GOAT himself. But we will see you next week. Hopefully when we speak, we'll be winding down in these series and we'll have a more defined view of who's gonna take home the division the league championships and get into the World Series.
Can't wait.
Alrighty, guys. This has been the 10th Inning Podcast. We'll see you next time.